We have officially entered the insane asylum with Trump's rhetoric. Officially. The world has tipped on its head. I don't know what's going on anymore. This is absolutely crazy. Welcome to the show, everybody. My name is Tal, the Traveling Clat. I'm coming to you live from an undisclosed location. I am your sweet Zionist white prince colonizer of America and Israel. And let's just jump right into this. Was Trump's tweet or his Truth Social post from yesterday. We know that the Trump administration is in direct talks right now with Hamas. They've cut out all the mediators. They've cut out Egypt. It's just America and Hamas talking. They even cut out Israel from the conversation. I mean, I'm sure Israel's involved. I'm going to give you guys some analysis on this post because it's batshit crazy. And in a good way, We're still Zionists here. But then I also want to show you guys the take of a Palestinian American who I think needs to be on the terrorist watch list from October 7th and even beyond. We'll talk about that in a moment. So Donald Trump starts with Shalom Hamas, means hello and goodbye. You can choose. Savage. Release all of the hostages now, not later, and immediately return all the dead bodies of the people you murdered, or it is over for you. Only sick and twisted people keep bodies, and you are sick and twisted. I am sending Israel everything it needs to finish the job. Not a single Hamas member will be safe. If you don't do as I say, not a single Hamas member will be safe if you don't do it as I say. I've just met with your former hostages whose lives you've destroyed. This is your last warning. For the leadership, now is the time to leave Gaza while you still have a chance. Also, to the people of Gaza, a beautiful future awaits, but not if you hold hostages. If you do, you are dead. Make a smart decision, release the hostages now, or they will be held to pay later. Donald J. Trump, President of the United States of America. The rhetoric is wild. Wild. What a 180 twist from Joe Biden. What a 180 twist from the Biden administration. And again, we've talked about this multiple times on the channel. There's people who disagree with me about genocidal or ethnically cleansed rhetoric. Obviously, there's no genocide in Gaza. Anybody with more than 3 brain cells can tell that if a population is increasing actively during the genocide, it's not a very good genocide. And that's not really apparent in other genocides around the world where the population is increasing, the birth rate is up. It doesn't really happen in most genocides. And also just considering the fact that Palestinians aren't really racially discriminated against, nor in Israel or in the world based on their identity, and more on the fact that they, actively commit terrorism. So just for starters with that, I think Donald Trump is seeing through all the bullshit and he's done. He's done with it. He's over it. He got into the office. He wanted to end this quickly, and he's seeing not just the disappointment from the Palestinian side, but what I've been talking about for a long time: the disappointment from the Arab side, the disappointment from the Palestinian people, the disappointment from Hamas. They're all very, very disappointing because unfortunately, they do support this shit. They openly support this shit. Like a vast majority of them, unfortunately. And that's the rhetoric that we're all sort of disappointed in because we want Gazans to be better people. We want Hamas to be better people. We want the Palestinians to be better people, but they're just not. They just aren't. And unfortunately, it doesn't seem like they're capable of stepping out of the bullshit that they're in and progressing towards a reality where they can actually be good people. They just keep feeding into more bullshit. So you can see Trump at the final straw here. And also, like we've assessed this before, he has unfortunately spoken to and heard the horror stories now firsthand. He's been meeting with Noa Argamani for a while, but Noa Argamani was one of the hostages that was held for 8 months and rescued in an insane rescue operation. And her boyfriend is still being held in Gaza today as a hostage. And he's also had the opportunity to meet with Keith Siegel and a bunch of people. I'm sure that he's at least spoken to the Bibas family and the horrors that they've been through. And he's now experienced October 7th. I'm sure he experienced it because he was already more prone to experiencing it from before. But now he's experienced it on a whole new level. He's seen the shock, he's seen the horror, and it's really alive within him. And again, if you want to say, the people of Gaza is a genocide, they've been getting killed, they've been this, and this. Okay, what happened in Gaza and what happened on October 7th, they're not remotely near the same thing. You can acknowledge the Palestinians in Gaza have been going through immense horror and strife, but it's not the same. It's not a deliberate group of savages that broke into a country to try to murder as many people as they can. In Gaza, there's an active attempt. I'm not going to go on this tirade again. There's no point in doing it because I don't want to preach to the choir. I'm not here to do hasbara to explain. But the reality is the two things are incomparable. The savagery of October 7th and what's been happening in the war in Gaza, they're incomparable. One is a group of terrorists. One is an army trying to get its people back, who unfortunately the people of the country are kind of openly supporting to hold them. This is why in this very message, Trump says, for the people of Gaza, also to the people of Gaza, a beautiful future awaits you, but not if you hold hostages. Because I'm sure that the U.S. has intelligence, that Israel has intelligence now to very much prove the fact, okay, that multiple Gazan civilians are holding hostages, as it's always been. This has always been the case. And so then when you try to look for the innocent Gazans, the innocent Palestinians in Gaza, it becomes increasingly hard to find what that means. An innocent Gazan or an innocent Palestinian. For somebody who doesn't know this, you know, there was a point a couple months ago where the Israeli government, and I believe the U.S. government as well, offered $5 million just for information from any Palestinian in Gaza, just for info on where the hostages could be. Not one single Palestinian, the 2 million who live in Gaza, took up that offer. Not one. Not one. And then people ask me, they tell me, Hamas, it's just Hamas. It doesn't have to do with the Palestinian people. Yeah, I don't know, bud. I don't know how much that checks out. Anyways, let me minimize this real quick, and I want to show you guys this video. So this guy's name, I don't remember his name exactly, Subhi Taha, something like that. He's half Filipino, half Palestinian, whatever that actually means, okay? And he lives in Texas. He's a huge content creator. I guess his page got banned or something, or blocked. He had me blocked for around a year. I've been following this guy for a long time now. I'm going to say the word alleged, but please understand what I mean. This is an alleged domestic terrorist. No ifs, ands, or buts. This man openly supported October 7th. He openly supports Hamas. In my opinion, if the U.S. administration / Trump is serious about deportation of people who support terrorist groups, this guy should be number one on the list. Number one on the list. No ifs, ands, or buts. And you'll hear the rhetoric from him right now to understand exactly what I'm talking about.
Not Trump going on another psycho rant on social media, but this time threatening Gaza, saying if they don't give up all the hostages, he's going to massacre everyone. Shalom, H-team, means hello and goodbye. You can choose. Someone tell his PR manager to stop trying to be cute. Release all of the hostages now, not later, and immediately return all of the dead bodies of the people you murdered, or it is over for you. Only sick and twisted people keep bodies, and you are sick and twisted. Putting aside the fact that Israel has been killing Palestinians and holding their bodies hostage for decades now. Even worse, harvesting the organs of these Palestinian bodies. In 2024 alone,
Do you guys understand? I mean, there's a difference between a Columbia student doing this and him. There's a difference. When it's like a random white liberal Columbia student, it's just idiocy. This is premeditated Hamas propaganda. I would not be surprised in the slightest if Hamas was outright paying him to create this propaganda. And he lives in America openly and freely. It's something to keep an eye on.
It was reported that Israel had over 1,400 Palestinian bodies that they were just holding. But I digress. I am sending Israel everything it needs to finish the job. Not a single H-team member will be safe if you don't do as I say. Wham! I know 2-year-olds who complain less than he does. I've just met with your former hostages whose lives you've destroyed. Yes, salam.
Do you understand? Look how he makes fun of the hostages and what they've been through. And by the way, he has been doing this since October 7th. I mean, he was doing stuff like this before. But since October 7th, he has openly on his platform, openly, multiple times, advocated for the hostages to have been kept at Hamas captivity. He openly supported Hamas taking the captives in the first place. He openly supported that. He was happy about it. He celebrated on October 7th. He really did. And he lives in America.
This is your last warning. For the leadership, now is the time to leave Gaza while you still have a chance. Also, to the people of Gaza, a beautiful future awaits, but not if you hold hostages. If you do, you are dead. Well, كل هذا قصة. Note that he just threatened the people of Gaza, not the H-team for holding hostages. All 2 million people. Make a smart decision. Release the hostages now or there will be hell to pay later. What I find so funny about this literal content is the fact that Israel has been carpet bombing Gaza for 15 months, now like 16, funded by the West, especially America, with billions of dollars. Supposedly one of the most advanced military systems in the world. And the president of the US is still having to go on social media to threaten the entire Gaza population because Israel still couldn't get back their hostages. After all that, y'all are still struggling? It really has to be extremely embarrassing for them. And honestly, with all my heart, I am so proud of my people. The fact that, oh man, I just can't. It's even funnier that they think that the H team is just gonna one day look around and be like, I think we gotta go, fellas. I think it's time. Like they're genuinely gonna abandon the 2 million Palestinians in Gaza who they just sacrificed their lives for the past 15 months. Putting aside the fact that all the H team members that were martyred since October 7th, Allah yarhamhum, may Allah grant them Jannat al-Firdaus, Ya Rab. They've been able to replace that exact number of martyrs with new soldiers. I think they reported losing around 6,000 to 7,000 soldiers, Allah yarhamhum.
Is it not Al Jazeera? Is it not Hamas propaganda? Like, is it not straight and cut Hamas propaganda? You tell me.
They already have 6,000 or 7,000 new members. And their underground tunnel system is still operating. Like, yeah, they were able to infiltrate certain parts, but the system is so complex and expansive, it's still standing and they're still using it. Allah yahmikin ya Rabbi. Wallahi, I am so proud of my people. And I think most Palestinians, especially the ones back home, can agree that this kind of content is not supposed to instill the fear that they think that they're instilling. We see all these interviews of Palestinians in the West Bank and Gaza responding to all of Trump and Netanyahu's threats, and the general response is always, yalla, let them try, and that they're staying. They're not going anywhere, and they will literally die for the land. And that, brothers and sisters, is a true mu'min. La yahmihin ya Rabbi. Not Trump.
You know, it's scary to me that in America, people like this just, because it's only 1 degree away from actually committing acts of terrorism. When you believe so intently on the idea of martyrdom and radical jihadist belief, and this kid, poor kid, he's got an identity crisis. He's not even a Palestinian. He's half Palestinian, half Filipino, and he believes to the death of him that he's an Arab, while the whole Arab world shits on him and his existence and doesn't believe for a second that he really is Arab. But the guy's like, he's part a religious zealot, part flamboyant Western college student. Like he fits in a mold of just doesn't, you know, he's isolated. Like if he was in Palestine, he'd probably be, just for the way that he talks, if you know what I'm saying. I don't think he would fare very long, especially not in Gaza. But again, a person like this, in my opinion, is 1 step removed from doing something horrific. It really is. When you preach this kind of rhetoric, this is the kind of rhetoric that, you know, if it's preached in a mosque, you put it on a watch list. You put it on a terror watch list because it's genuinely dangerous. It's genuinely dangerous propaganda. And this is just 1 video. He has a massive catalog. I highly suggest you go engage with his content on Instagram. I don't know if his original page has been deleted or not because he blocked me on there a while ago. I don't even know why, because I don't think I even had any discourse with him. But you should go and engage with his content. Go take a look at the stuff that he does and says. You'll be mind blown. He's a real, alleged terrorist on the streets of America, and it's genuinely shocking and very disgusting. I'll end with one last thing here. I haven't made any message to my Muslim followers because it's Ramadan, during Ramadan, so I just wanted to start with this.
Assalamu alaikum. Islam. Alaikum salam.
Assalamu alaikum. Alakasesa salam. Crazy times are upon us, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know what's going to happen. I honestly feel at this point that Donald Trump is pushing Israel to do more than Bibi Netanyahu is actually even willing to do. I also feel like Bibi Netanyahu feels immense pressure from Israel right now because there's immense pressure to release all the hostages while there's still kind of a ceasefire going on before we go back to fighting, which will most likely happen. But the pro-Pallies are going to keep pushing this propaganda that there's a genocide and an apartheid and this and that and that. While they're there's videos coming out of Gaza now with the markets being full. And in the same sentence, you can see he says he's threatening all the people of Palestine. But in the same sentence, that kid was saying it's all the people of Palestine, but also Hamas is standing up for all the people of Palestine. But it's not all the people of Palestine. It's just Hamas. Like they do it. They're shifty, they move from side to side, like they jump through circles. Like I'm Arab when it's convenient for them. I'm also not Arab when it's not convenient for them. This is the Arab sort of Muslim talking point. It's like you get to sort of shift identities and shift the truth as you please, whenever you want. So Tal can be an Arab or a fake Arab that's supporting, I can be a bootlicker Arab in one moment, and at the same moment I could be a dirty, disgusting Indian Jew, even though I have no connection to India whatsoever, just when it's convenient for them. The truth doesn't really matter. Propaganda, propaganda, propaganda. Qatari-funded Islamic State, Islamic regime of Iran, Hamas propaganda, funded by Al Jazeera. This kid, 99% allegedly, okay, I gotta say it to protect my ass, funded by some sort of terror organization. I would not be shocked for a moment. I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for supporting my content. I love you a long time. Goodbye.
If you believe in my content and want to support me, just know your help is needed. There's a bunch of great ways to support me, being PayPal, Buy Me a Coffee, or joining my Patreon community down below. Patreon is the best way to support my channel, and you'll get a bunch of cool perks depending on what tier you join. Another great way to support me is by buying my merchandise on thetravelingclat.com. I regularly drop new merch designs like this beautiful hat, or this amazing shirt, where you can support the channel and get something cool for yourself. I also have an amazing Discord community with people from all over the world. Thank you so much for your support.